Back, everybody, and thank you for coming along. I am Wes, and this is the Slim Flippers podcast. And today I'm joined by Karen from Treasures of Gold. Karen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me and taking some time out of your day to join us on the
Absolutely.
Slim Flippers podcast. I appreciate it. So let's just jump right in. Let's talk about your plush because, let's talk about how we met. You were on the Nashville Flippers podcast a couple weeks ago, and I was on there
Mhm.
last week. And so I decided, you know what, we need to talk. So I
Yeah.
sent you the invitation. So thank you for joining us this evening.
Yes. And I saw when you messaged me, I was like, "Oh, I am like well, actually it was when the Nashville Flippers had you on, that they showed that they were going to be having you on their podcast. I was like, "Oh, I am already following Slim Flippers, and I'm like, I don't remember. I try to follow everyone who follows me that I can tell is another reseller because everyone, you can learn something from everyone. So I love it. I was like, sweet, let's
Well,
do this.
I think the neat thing about you and I, you had told them that you had started in April of last year, and
Mm,
I started in June of last year. So we're both newly minted resellers
yeah,
the game. So
yeah,
we're taking I guess, a different look than some of these old hats that
I
are out
know. Yeah, so true.
So the thing I wanted to talk about, like I mentioned a second ago, was your plush.
Yeah.
On average, how much do you think you sell in any given week or month or whatever?
So, really, my goal when starting this back in April, actually, this wasn't even really the goal I had in mind back in April. It was kind of just something I was doing for fun at the time.
Mhm.
I was working retail 3, 4 nights a week, just to make some part-time income, as a mostly stay-at-home mom. And then I started, I guess getting good enough at it where I was like, well, I'm starting to kind of make the same amount I make, you know, at my retail job, but then you have to take into consideration that you have to buy stuff to sell, you like gas money to go to all these different thrift stores, just all the different things, and then
Well, those
shipping.
things are necessary, aren't they?
It's not quite as black and white as
Yeah.
just getting a paycheck for going and working, at a store or whatever. But anyways, I kind of waited a little bit, and then it was last July when I didn't completely quit my retail job because I did want to keep my discount, but I work there just once a month now. So really I'm just yeah, pretty much making part-time income. Not everything I sell is plush, but it's definitely the vast majority, if you can see all the random stuff behind me.
Okay.
So I don't know, and I wasn't really intentional either to do mostly plush. Uh, it was my first eBay sale was a Care Bear, and it just happened that way. And I think as a stay-at-home mom, packaging up plush is way quicker, easier, less stressful than fragile items. I have never loved doing clothing, so yeah. Yeah, I don't I'm really bad at the numbers. My husband is in financing, so he's the one who gets to do all that stuff.
Right.
But he doesn't complain, so and I don't complain that he doesn't complain. But yeah, I pretty much was just trying to make part-time income, and it has thankfully worked out. So, not going back to retail, that's for sure. Full-time at least or part-time.
That's been kind of my goal. I'm just having fun with it. I'm enjoying
Mhm.
meeting people like yourself and just talking. This is a great little, I guess, a stress reliever for me. I just enjoy
Yeah.
meeting new people and talking the resale game. How many plush do you think that is behind you in that pile that you have?
Oh my goodness. I so on eBay, I have how many listings do I have right now? Obviously, the number changes every day. I think it's getting close to 700.
Oh wow!
At the beginning of this summer, I had a yard sale to kind of get rid of some stale things. I mean, you're newer at it too. You've probably bought some things that you're like, well, I shouldn't have done that.
Well,
But
if you remember, actually on your show, I had commented that I have 100 and that's actually 111.
oh,
I said,
Beanie Babies.
Yes. Big
Yeah.
mistake. So that box, when I look at it, I'm like, you know what? That it's just my drive to keep me away from trying to do those mistake buys.
You gotta find another new reseller who doesn't know yet, but don't charge them a lot, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much how we all get rid of them, I think. But yeah, I think so about 700 listings, I would say, because it was at around 800, I think, at the beginning of the year, and then I was like, I need to cut back just a little bit. But as far as plush goes, obviously, I think the majority of that is plush, but I don't know, maybe like 500 of those. So yeah, most of them are behind me. There, I've had to come up with a few other spots to shove them. So pretty much all the little nooks and crannies in this is our guest room downstairs, has something for reselling. So it's
That's
fun though.
that's
I
like my
like.
wife and I. We that we're the slim flippers, plural. I'm the one that's always on, but she doesn't want to be on the podcast now.
Mhm.
She'll jump in there and she'll talk about some things that we found at yard sales or stuff like that. Um, but yeah, we have things stuffed in every little nook and cranny that we can find. It's almost like we're playing a big giant game of Tetris in our house.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. Isn't it funny? I feel like the goal is always to like reduce, but then when you become a reseller, you kind of have to throw that out the window a little bit.
Well,
So,
I'm constantly telling myself, today I'm not going to go. I'm not going to buy anything. I'm going to drive past that Goodwill, and then as I'm turning into the parking lot, uh, it's, it's
yeah.
a constant
Yeah,
battle between yourself, so to speak.
mhm. Sure is. Yep.
So you sell primarily. I think you said in your interview you sell on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. I'm we know
Mhm.
about the eBay thing, but how about your Facebook Marketplace? How is that going for you, and how you go about your business on that side of it?
So, I think for me, Facebook Marketplace was where I started before I really knew like that reselling for part-time or full-time income was an actual thing.
Hmm.
I remember I would buy stuff on Facebook Marketplace and have it shipped to me. And I remember seeing other users say it'll say like they've shipped 500 items through Marketplace or whatever. And I remember thinking like, how the heck have they shipped that many items? Like I didn't quite get it. But then, so I would sell things here or there that were ours and we were just trying to get rid of. Um, had no idea about comps or anything, and then just randomly started selling American Eagle jeans from thrift stores on there. And then after that, I kind of found some resellers and stuff. So I just basically, starting out on Facebook Marketplace, I think at first I was like, well, I'm just going to do Facebook Marketplace. But then I think I quickly kind of realized if I want to make more money in general, I probably need to at least do eBay. I do like Facebook Marketplace for a lot of things, for the local pickups and stuff. And the fees on Facebook Marketplace is like 5% compared to eBay's. I don't even know what it's at now. 12 at least.
Hmm.
So people usually don't ask as much on Facebook Marketplace, but I do think there's also a different group of people on there that are willing to. I would say there are certain items that I think I can get more for on Facebook Marketplace than eBay, because eBay is so saturated with certain things. And I feel like there's a lot of maybe resellers and new resellers who, I mean, I can't ever prove that another reseller has bought one of my items and then thought it was worth more than I have found it to be. But I think that is a dynamic on Facebook Marketplace. I don't personally source from there. It's just too much of a, it's just not worth it to me. But yeah, I don't know. I just have really liked it. And I know it's definitely something that a lot of resellers just ignore, and I totally respect that. I haven't used Poshmark or Mercari. I know a lot of people do those as well. So, you're just eBay, right? Or
I am. I'm just eBay.
yeah. Okay.
Um, My wife has got some things on Macari and Poshmark,
Mm,
not a whole lot, but I'm just strictly eBay. So we have two different stores going on eBay.
okay. Oh, gotcha.
Um, I will admit that the things that I bought early
Mm,
on were a lot of plush, including
yeah.
my 111. I'm not even going to mention them because it just hurts too bad.
Hopefully you didn't pay too much for them,
Oh
right?
no, I did not. They were like, I think they were like a quarter each. So here I am thinking, oh wow, I'm gonna do a great deal on these Beanie Babies, and but it didn't quite work out that way. But um, over the year now, I have bought less and less plush. Matter of fact, the last plush I bought was about 2 weeks ago, and it was a
Mhm.
Bucky's uh, beaver
Oh,
thing, and
okay.
it's kind of nice. So everybody in the South knows about Bucky's. It's a big
Yeah. Do you
thing.
have them? You're in Tennessee, right?
Yes, yes. We just
You
started
have
getting them the last few years. Matter of fact,
Okay.
the largest one that was built, it's got 74,000 square feet, and it's in
Wow.
Sevierville, Tennessee, which is near me. So,
Wow. I don't think I've ever been to one. I totally know what it is, but I
yeah,
don't think I've ever been to one.
I think ours has the one that's near me has got like 128 gas pumps. So
Wow.
it's crazy.
Crazy.
But um, that's the first plush I have bought in
In a
probably
while.
6 months.
Hmm.
So it's got to be really,
Wow.
really good for me to pick it up. But I mean, kudos to you as I look at your wall behind you. I mean, that is obviously
I
your
know.
niche.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I don't really know how it happened, but um and it's always a learning experience and finding the good brands. I definitely like a lot of these, probably not all of, not most of them, but a good chunk of them I probably wouldn't pick up today.
Right.
So I don't know. I like selling. I mean, don't we all love selling things quickly? But I've kind of learned, and then sometimes I'll sell something that has been listed since I started. I'm like, well, okay, but by then, I've probably reduced the price or whatever. So
It's amazing to me some of the things that you source, especially over this year that we've been doing this, that you think it's a great seller. I know it's gonna go, and it doesn't move at all, and you're still sitting on it. But some of the stuff you pick up,
Mhm.
you're like, how and why? I mean, it goes
Yeah,
really quick. I put something up there the other day. It was up there 30 minutes and it sold. And
so crazy.
I don't get it. But in thinking about your pile behind you, um, what would be your worst pickup, and do you think is your best pickup as far as plus? If you could put the two beside each other.
Gosh. So I think I can't really like, so some of these, I mean, if you sell toys at all, a lot of the thrift stores, will group them together.
Mhm.
And usually if I think I can sell it, even for, I mean, it just depends. Even for a few bucks, depending on the sell through rate or whatever, even if it's cheap, I'll try to list it and sell it. So a lot of these, not most again, but a chunk of these are that where I wouldn't have picked them up if they were by themselves, but I am just trying to, make a couple extra bucks from the bag I bought. I think something that I have kind of grown from over the past year is, I kinda when I first started, I thought that, like, most Disney plush would be worth money or worth picking up, but I've kind of come to learn that, like, there are so many that you really need to find the right characters, or, you know, the parks one, like, there's no it's just hard because there's no, like, definite rules where, like, "Oh, yes, if it's from, Disney parks, then yes, pick it up. It will be worth it." Like, it may be, it might not be. But I do have so much Disney that I want to kind of purge. And then I don't know, my top sale of all time was a Webkins. I don't
Mhm.
know if you're
Oh
familiar
yeah,
with those. I don't know when they were super popular. I guess like the early 2000s or something.
I think so.
Yeah. So I don't know. When I have something that I know is really good like that, I do like to do an auction just so that I know it will sell. So that one was a gold signature, so the little W on the foot instead of being a rainbow was just gold, and then it also had the code. But that one was like $340 or something on auction, which was funny. I think I actually tried at first to not have it on an auction, and then I got a few offers that I kind of had regretted not taking at the time for like 250, I think 270 I even had. And I was like, I really feel like I can get more. But then I regretted it when it sat on auction for a while, around like 200. But then the last day, it went up. So I ended up being really happy with that one, obviously being my best sale. That one actually just dropped off my 90-day total. So that was a little sad to see today, but it's fine. So I don't know. It's just, I'm like, right now, what is the one I think is worth the most? I don't know. That's one of the things that is hard about plush because there are those, $300 webkins out there. But the vast majority of them are going to be, I hear resellers refer to it as, bread and butter or whatever, where you're just, trying to make, 15 to 30 bucks for,
It's like on
something
the
that's
Frizzy's, and I've interviewed these folks, Frizzy's Finds, they talk about their bread and butter all the time.
without, yeah, yeah, I hear a lot of people.
Shout out to
It's so
Frizzy's
funny.
Finds.
We have our own language. I'm still learning the language. You're probably still learning the language too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of gold, let's
Mhm.
let's talk about the thing you were talking about the other day, the treasure hunting um,
Yes.
that you're on, or want to be on, or should be on. You need to be out
Yeah.
there hiking every trail you can now to go find that cash.
I wish I do not have it in me to take two because I have two 3-year-old girls, twins. I don't have it in me to take them with me. So I only got to go on one hike, but I was like trying to figure out at home where like what trail it was going to be on. Was totally off. Did not quite understand the solve that they came out with, but yeah, it was kind of funny. There was a whole controversy that came out after about how it was rigged, and I don't know, obviously there's always going to be sore losers who didn't get the 25 grand, but
Right.
oh, so funny.
Wow, that's neat for those folks to do that. How did
Yeah.
they? Now you said they put like 12,500, and what do they bury it in a little box or something, or how does that work? What do they do?
Yeah, so it is like I assume they have to find a waterproof one, but it is a treasure chest that they put it in. And this year, so this was the fourth year, the fourth summer they did this, that they've done this, and um a couple people hid or put out in the open some fake treasure chests this year to try to mess
Oh,
with people. But they did put like they didn't tell anyone, but they put like this special item inside. So whenever the winner contacted them, they said, okay, like what else is inside besides the cash? And it was like a skull or like a fake, a fake plastic little skull or something. So they had like a random item this time so that they knew it was actually found and not just, a false alarm or whatever. But yeah, 12, I think 12 and a half grand. And then they never really said how they gave the other half, but whether it was cash or a check or what, or I don't know. But
hmm.
yeah, someone from Iowa came to Utah and ended up
Drove
getting it.
down and got
Crazy.
it. Why do you think they do this? Why do these folks do this every summer?
You know, they say they do it just because they wanted to do something fun to give back to the community. And they did start it in 2020. So at the time they wanted people to get out of their houses, from COVID.
Mhm.
I do think it has, I don't know how many followers they have accumulated on Instagram over time. They say they haven't, they aren't making money on Instagram. They actually really don't post very much other than during the treasure hunting season, as we call it. Um, I don't know. I mean, one of them is in real estate, so they came up with an idea because after a few years they're kind of running out of just free money, I guess, to give out.
All right.
I guess it's bound to happen to eventually, but they are doing with the real estate, they're doing a treasure flip is what they're calling it. So totally voluntary, but if anyone wants to help, they flip house. So being in real estate, they flip houses. they bought a house, and their plan is to use any fund, like any profit they make, and they're projecting 40 to 50 grand using that to fund the future hunts. So they're letting people who want to come help, do any of the fixing up of the house come if they want, but totally, optional. So I thought that was a cool idea for them. And they're saying they're not making money off of it. They seem like genuine people, but I don't know. It's hard to question someone's integrity when they're literally giving out money,
Yeah,
So
that's very true. That's a true statement. But I think one of the things now I've mentioned this on several of my podcasts. I am a PE teacher, and so the reselling
yes.
game is part time for me. But kudos to them because I'm all about getting exercise, and if it's a way
Hmm.
to get people actually out on the hiking trails and get them moving, I think that is a
Oh yeah.
tremendous idea, and they've got the funds to back it up. And kudos to them to getting people
Hmm.
moving in a direction of being outside and getting that exercise.
Oh
So,
yeah.
um,
Hmm.
wow.
Absolutely. I know. I hope I can go on more. Like, just even learning about some of the trails around here that I didn't even know existed. I'm like, cool. I want to go on a ton of hikes now. Like, so it's great.
Well, we're at the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, and we
Mm.
have a lot of hiking trails there as well. I wish somebody would, kind of do something like that. It may not be that
Yeah.
extreme, but we could have people hiking all over
Yeah.
the mountain.
You should try to look into it. There
Yeah,
might be something. I don't know. There's a $10,000 treasure hidden in New York City right now. Um, I thought I knew where it was at one point, but I wasn't confident enough to book a flight and go over there. But I don't know, it's weird that there's some of these things all over. Some of them just don't get as much traction, and obviously probably aren't $25,000, but you know,
well, I'm going to start small with my giveaways. Speaking of giveaways, a little segue there for you.
yes.
So far, I have a grand total of, I think it's 41, 42 people following me now. Now,
Oh, awesome.
I haven't been at it long on YouTube, but you have to start
Hmm.
somewhere. And I'm
Yeah,
very
of course.
thankful to all those people that are following me on YouTube. Thank you all for doing that. I think when I get to 100 subscribers, I'm going to give something away. And then when I get to 500, I'm going to give something even bigger away. So, hopefully I can get some people subscribing to my channel and checking this out. Now, how many subscribers? No, you're not on YouTube though, are you?
No, I mean, at one point before I was a reseller, we were going to start a YouTube channel. Um, but we didn't do it, and I don't know, it's something I could be interested in, but I feel like I'm still just trying to survive the whole Instagram thing. So who knows?
Well, I understand. Your Instagram though, did you say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that you are over 1,000, on Instagram followers?
Not quite. Not quite. I think I'm like in the 950 range. So getting there, it's weird. It can shoot up quickly sometimes, and then like I think between 5 and 800 was like a month's time or something, and then 8 to 900 took like 2 or 3 months. It's funny how that happens.
Well,
But yeah, not quite there.
I'm about 390 on Instagram. Um, I started in earnest though, really working Instagram probably 6, 8 weeks ago. I wasn't really trying to push it, but now that I'm doing my YouTube and all that kind of stuff, I my Instagram followers are picking up and trying to give them some fun videos, things that
Yeah,
make me laugh, things
it's a
like.
lot of work.
It is. It can be.
It
Um,
can't. Yeah, it can't.
but it just
Well,
depends on
and you're
do what.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask, like, how, I mean, I guess you've been doing it for a year now, so you did it while you were working during the school year, like as a PE teacher. That seems like a lot.
Well, it is. But usually when I do my stuff, it's on the weekends. Um,
Okay.
I don't do anything during the school time like that. I'm focused on my kids, and my PE job. But
Yeah.
usually my wife and I will go out and we'll go to yard sales, which I'm going to ask you about that here in a minute because I remember you talking to Ray and them about yard sales. Um, but I try to do this and that Um, we started back to school yesterday, going back.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so it's a grind. It gets going and but you know, I'd rather have it that way. I'm never bored. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Um, Speaking of, let's jump into the yard sale, garage sale thing. Do
Mhm.
you, and you already answered this, but I'm gonna let you answer it again. Do you like those yard sales and garage sales?
I mean, I really, I've been trying to more look for rummage sales this year because I feel like those have been my most successful. I mean, it's, everyone coming together and putting all their stuff together. And then usually the people who price it really have no idea what it's worth. So and especially when I mostly am looking for plush, that's always going to be like $1 or something at a
Hmm.
rummage type sale. Whereas yard sales occasionally, I mean, usually plush is still pretty cheap, but occasionally someone will be like, "Well, I know that that's worth money." So, but that's with anything. I don't know. I really do like them. I think for me it's hard because Saturday mornings are kind of a time that we try to do more family stuff. Not like necessarily as a set rule, but I don't know. I feel like half the time during the week, I am trying to get work done and juggle, being with my girls. So I don't always get them out of the house as much as I want to. But then Saturday, when my husband's also home, it's like, well, we could go do something. So I don't know. I'm trying to juggle it because I do want to go. And sometimes if I wake up really early, then I can just go and then we can go do something later. So it's not like impossible to do both, but yeah, it's just I've been choosing sleeping in a lot more this summer, it seems like. I
That's
don't know.
good. I was getting ready to say that's my wife's choice. She wants to sleep in,
Sleep
and
in, yeah.
my favorite thing is this because like on a Friday, like tomorrow night, she'll say, "So you going yard and selling tomorrow or something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I sure am." Well, I want to sleep in tomorrow, and I'm like, "Go ahead, that's fine. I have no problem with that. I'll just go myself." And guess who's up
Yeah.
with me, ready to go?
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has that FOMO, you know. I
Mhm.
can't let you go without me. So she gets up and goes. But it's turned in. It's honestly over the course of this year. It's actually brought us. We've been married a little over 9 years, but it's brought us together a lot closer because we stop and get coffee and I enjoy speaking to people about their yard sales and things like that. It's I used to be really painfully shy. And for me to be a teacher and for
Mhm.
me to be a reseller and for me to be on YouTube and doing podcasts and talking to these people,
You're forced not to be.
right? It's like
Yeah.
you get out there, you do it.
Mhm.
But I always had this fear too of missing out on things. So that actually overrode
Yeah.
my fear of being too shy or whatever. So
Mhm.
you went into no YouTube and why you're not doing YouTube, but do you ever think that you will at some point?
See, I wouldn't say that I never will. I don't know. I mentioned this on Nashville Flippers. I don't love filming inside thrift stores, inside in garage sales, yard sale. I don't love filming there. I do love watching those kinds of videos though. So I think it would really come down to, would I feel like I have enough video ideas that don't involve that sort of stuff to really justify it? Um, I don't know. So maybe one day. I feel like now my focus is kind of just getting better at sourcing things that, have better sell through rates and um not just buying things because I think it could sell for a $5 profit one day, but I don't know.
Well,
That's kind of been my focus, but I wouldn't say I'll never do YouTube because I don't know. I do think it seems to be where everyone's going, so
Well, in thinking about my own show, the Slim Flippers podcast, I initially thought that I had to do all those things that Commonwealth Picker and Harry Tornado and all these people, they wear the cameras and flip the
yeah.
world, and they all do it, and they all do it very well. Um, for now, for me, that's just not my thing. That is not my niche. I remember I tried it a time or two, and I had like this big old pair up here on my shoulder, and I could feel every single eyeball looking at me, like, why are you filming me? And that makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, me too.
So for me to have the opportunity to speak to fellow resellers and learn as I'm talking with them, um,
Yeah,
that's my game at this point. Um,
yeah,
so I think we can learn things just talking, let people hear that as well. Because
yeah.
I don't know if you do what I do. I'll turn on YouTube and I'll listen to Kevin or Harry Tornado or whoever, and I'll just listen to them as I'm doing whatever around my house. I'm not really watching it, but I'm listening to what they're saying, and
Yeah.
you can learn a lot from people that are talking. Um, let me throw you back to plush real quick.
Hmm.
Squishmallows. You had mentioned this, I think, on the Nashville. Let me change my chair here. You had
Yeah.
mentioned it on the Nashville Flippers show with Ray, and you had commented about the Squishmallows. So why do you think they're trending downward now? What is behind all of that? You feel?
So I don't know for sure if some of it is my own personal bias because I do still think that there are plenty of collectors out there to kind of, you know, justify looking them up now and again. But really, they will be the new Beanie Babies. So, in 20 years, someone's going to buy 100 of them thinking they're worth money and they won't be. But um, I just feel like I've seen more and more at thrift stores and retailers in general. I feel like are making like ones. So I think their peak was like 2018. Well, not their peak, but when they really started blowing up, 2018, 2019, 2020. Um, I feel like we're kind of at the point now where they make them for every single holiday. They'll make, all these different themes. And I'm sure some people are still like into that, but I just think it's gotten to the point where it's overly saturated. Um, I don't know. I have had like two of my top sales have been Squishmallows, but it's been a really long time. I want to say I think I've sold 2 for over $100, and both of them were well, I think one of them was last year, and then one of them was, like, early this year, so, I don't know, it's just been a while, and I also have kind of well, I mentioned the Facebook groups for them, and that's where I was really learning about, like, which ones people wanted because they would always post, "I'm in search of this. Does anyone have this to sell me?" or whatever. And so you see the same sort of ones over and over again. So then I learned what to look for. But I made a grave error once. I didn't talk about this on the Nashville Flippers, but and I
Oh,
should have when they
we
asked me
got an
about.
exclusive here.
Yeah, yeah. They asked me about shill bidding. I should have mentioned this story, but so I this was probably last October, November, somewhere in there. I found I mean, anyone who's listening can look it up if they want. It's an Omar Squishmallow, so it's a little bear, and it's a hug me, so it's like ones that are like standing upright, and not just like the round ones. It was a small one, like 5 inches. I found it at Goodwill for I think $2 or $3. I don't remember. Really cheap. It wasn't in the greatest condition. The I wish I had maybe. I wonder if I can find. Oh, I put them all up here. I
We
don't
can,
have any that are this style right now, but um, its tummy had like fur, like plush on it, and it was a little matted, and it just wasn't in great condition. But going on eBay, they were going for like I don't think there were. Well, there were a few sold. There weren't any listed when I found it, but they were going for like $300-400.
oh,
So I bought this, and then I had been on this Squishmallow group. I had sold a few things on it. Um, I posted, look what I found. This isn't for sale, by the way, because I knew I was going to run an auction on eBay. Well, this was, like I said, last year. I had not changed my eBay username yet, so it was the first one they gave me. So it was like most of my first name, part of my last name, like, and then some numbers or whatever eBay generates for your beginner username or whatever. Someone quickly found that I had listed on eBay, and that group like crucified me. Like they were so mad that I was reselling this after finding it for cheap. And I think a big part of it is because Squishmallow collectors are usually teenage or college age girls. Like they were very upset about it, and I had started the bid actually pretty low. I started at like $20. Anyways, a bunch of them, I had to leave that group. I had to change my message settings because I was getting all sorts of horrible messages from people who were just like so mad that I could possibly think about making a profit, stealing from the poor, the whole thing. Yeah, I had to leave that group, but they all went on my eBay auction, and they started bidding like thousands of dollars on it, all this crazy stuff. I ended up ending the auction early. That's the only item I've ever done that on. And so it got up to like 355, which I think was around the max for like a brand new one. And mine was not in great condition. So I was like, this can't be real. They're not gonna pay this.
Right.
I messaged the buyer, the person who ended up winning after I ended it early. They never responded. Yeah, never ended up shipping it to them, obviously, because they didn't pay, but I had to make the choice to not relist it on there for months. I think I ended up actually listing it on my husband's account, which he's like never used, but so I ended up selling it, I think for like 150 or something months later. Um but yeah, so now I'm not in that Squishmallow group, so I haven't really stayed up to date on, what is super popular right now. But
Mhm.
I do feel like I see more and more at the thrift stores, which is also kind of an indicator that people aren't holding on to them as much. So I don't know. Anyways, that was a really long tangent just to
Oh,
kind of answer your
oh, hey,
question.
that's perfect. I like that. And see, that's how you learn, though. So you listen.
Yeah.
Um, you do a whole lot more. That's what I tell my students. You learn a lot more by using these and not this. So that's why you have two of these and one of those. Do this twice as much. Right?
Yeah, true.
But something I've seen, like you said, at the Goodwill bins and at thrift stores, is these really uh, big, gigantic ones, and I
Mm,
don't really know the difference. Is there a lot of different sizes that they come in? Um,
yeah.
I mean, I have no
Um,
idea.
so the best ones I have sold, and I think not it's there's always exceptions to every rule, but people like the smaller ones better. It's hard because on average you can get more for the bigger ones because people know they originally cost more at retail. But personally, I don't want to, like, I know you can vacuum seal them and stuff, but I just don't even bother with the giant ones. I think I bought one that I thought could be worth some money, and then one of my children fell in love with it, and I
That's
just
hard to
because
get rid of.
I was trying to sell it locally, like for pickup, and just recently deleted the listing because I was letting them just play with it a little bit. I usually don't, like, they never come in this room because it would be horrible. But that one I did let them see because I was like, look how cute this is. Anyways, they still, but yeah, I think as a rule, a lot of people will just collect the clips, which are the ones, with a little clip on their head, and they're like really small, like 4 inches. Uh I don't know if I have any right now, but yeah, or just like the little small hug me's. I don't know. I was looking at the comps the other day, kind of after I talked to the Nashville Flippers, because, I was like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if the price has gone up or down. That Omar that I, had the whole chaos from, he doesn't have any, I don't think he has any sold. I don't think there's like any listed on eBay right now, actually. Maybe one, or I don't know. Anyways, he's still worth some money. So there's a few out there that I think are kind of going to be worth money for a few years, but there's just so many that have been produced in the past couple of years. It's just nobody can keep up with that. So
Well, over the course of this year, I have sold 4, I believe.
okay.
Just bought them because I thought they were weird looking. They were round, you know. I do still have one available in my store. And it's it's funny enough, it's a Mickey Mouse.
Oh, really?
It's a Squishmallow Mickey Mouse. But
Nice.
I haven't picked a lot of those up, and I'm sorting down. I'm getting my pile of plush out. I'm not going to
Yeah.
have any more plush for a while. So
Yeah.
I need space.
Yep.
So Karen, one of the last things that I wanted to talk to you about is when you hopped into the resale game, what either A made you have anxiety about it, or B, what got you really excited about it? If you could talk about both of those areas.
Yeah. I think I mean, even now I still struggle with this, but I think I have gotten to a point where I feel like maybe they don't, but I feel like all the workers like recognize me at this point. Totally could be not true, but I feel like they do. And I feel like every single person who ever sees me knows I'm a reseller. And I think part of it is because of that Squishmallow group that like crucified me for
Right.
finding out that I was selling stuff for a profit. So in my head, especially because I'm looking at toys and I don't bring my kids with me, um, toys and plush, I always just assume that every single person knows I'm a reseller and that someone's going to say something. I don't know. Obviously, it's not true. Like, no one has ever said, "Oh, are you going to, sell that for a profit or something?" Nobody has ever done that. But I think, again, probably because of that stinking squishmallow, I just have it in my mind that somebody's going to be mad at me for doing my job. Um, I don't know. I think just the whole thing, everything as a whole was really I remember being really excited over just paying like $2 for something and then selling it for $25, like, because I started with American Eagle jeans just making like 2 to $5. I don't know why I was doing that. I don't really like I didn't know what reselling really was. So I think once I learned what it was and learned like there are like you can do better than American Eagle jeans paying $6 and selling for 15 before your fees. I think yeah, just making those little sales was really exciting. And now I'm excited about, the bigger sales and stuff, but I still don't want to take for granted the little ones because that's really where most of the income comes from. So bread and butter, right?
Better. And you have some people, they're wanting to sell those big high price items, and then you have some people that just nickel and dime it all the way. And I'm
Hmm.
pretty much I'll just sell whatever. I'm happy
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
selling and getting a sale because it's fun to hear that little cash register on your phone ring when you sell
Yeah.
something. It's like Pavlov's dog when they turn the light on and off. Is he going to get a snack? Um,
Yes. Little
couple of
dopamine
things,
rush.
a couple of things, and this is a personal thing that I had heard you talking to the Nashville Flippers about was your library, and that intrigued me. That you are setting that aside or wanting to do that, and obviously for your kids and as well as your whole family. Could you
Mhm.
kind of touch base on that a little bit, or what's pushing you to want to do that?
Yeah, so I don't think I mentioned this at all in the Nashville Flippers, but we had slash have um bunnies and guinea pigs. I think we're down. We lost a few this year, but we're down to 5 rabbits and 2 guinea pigs that we have left. I think the most we had was like 13 at a like total between the two species. So we had them in this what is now going to be a library in this it's like a sunroom right off the kitchen. And it's pretty decent size, but it was it was perfect for them until it wasn't. It's a pretty decent sized room, hardwood floor. They would totally eat the carpet. So we do have them in, like, we let them take turns having free roam of the room that they're in. They would kill each other if we let them all free roam at a time, unfortunately. So they are in cages most of the time until it's their turn. But so they were all in this room. But during the summer months, it can get really hot in there, and I think our AC unit in there was kind of dying out just because it's kind of like, I don't know how many square feet it is, but it's probably it's probably like 600-700 square feet in just this room. But anyways, it just was getting too hot for them, so we ended up moving them last summer. To a different room kind of down, it's not ideal, it's like behind our garage is this little workshop room, concrete floors, but it's way cooler, so I'm like, I'd rather keep them alive in a slightly smaller room than, than burn them to death. So
Well,
anyways, we kind of, they, of course, even cleaning up after them, they chewed the walls and the floor got destroyed. So we didn't really do anything with it for quite a while, but and just kind of trying to think, what can we do in here? Like, it would be a great like workout room, but with that temperature, I'm not gonna go run on the treadmill and 80 degrees, or well, nine, I don't know, whatever temperature it is, 90 degrees. So I don't know. I really don't know like where it started. It could have honestly been inspired from maybe like the Goodwill bins, because something I always try to pick up at the Goodwill bins are books for my kids or for us. Um, and we do have, some bookshelf space that's not going to be in the library, but I think at one point it probably just kind of clicked, like we should thrift a bunch of bookshelves and redo the floor and all this stuff. So we do have to replace the skylights. One of them somehow like spider webbed and is cracked. So that's kind of the next thing. My husband did a great job on the floor, sanded the whole thing and restained it so it looks like you wouldn't know bunnies were in there, other than some of the, well, he's replacing the baseboards too, but some of the walls, the walls are wood too, and they bit everything over because they were in there a few years. But anyways, I don't know, it kind of just came out of nowhere and he was totally on board. He he's more of a reader than I am. I've been trying this year. My goal was to read one book a month, and that's like a miracle for me. Like, I like the idea of reading, but I've never like made it a priority in my life. So
how is
until
that
this year,
going, Bob? How is
yeah,
that
one
going?
book a month. I've succeeded so far. So, we're halfway now. But yeah, my husband's a way bigger reader than I am. So I knew he wouldn't say no to that idea. So yeah, we kind of have just taken off with it, and I'm excited to be the one to like decorate it and kind of put everything together and start, you know, adding all the little things to it. I found a really cool couch several months back and I was like, I'm getting this. Like, we can't put it in our library yet because it's not ready, but we're going to find a place for it until it is ready. So, I don't
That's
know,
great.
just kind of happened, and I'm just ready to decorate.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with encouraging reading, especially in your young ladies that you have.
Mhm.
I even as a PE teacher, it's the kids when they come to me. They're sometimes I like to see if they're even paying attention. I'll be standing there waiting on them at the outside the gym. I'll be reading my book that I have. They're like, "Coach, what are you doing reading?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
You're
Coaches
you're an
read
athlete.
too.
You can't read.
Yeah, you're just the coach. You just throw the ball out now. A little bit more than that.
It's
But
part of
yeah,
being
I
healthy.
applaud you. I applaud you for doing that. In the area that we live, Dolly Parton is from Sevierville, Tennessee, originally, and she started a thing years ago, the Imagination Library.
I've
You
heard
can,
of this, I think.
and
Yeah.
up until you're 5 years old, they'll send you a book a month to your kids. And my son, we still have all of his. Of course, he just now graduated high school, and I still have that whole set. And
Oh,
it was very fun to take him on some of those adventures um, through those books. And I haven't never admitted this before, but I actually have written two children's books myself.
Ooh, really?
Yes, and I have a third one that's on the way. Those can be found online, by the way. One of them is
Okay.
Books for Jacob, and it was about a student of mine that had some medical issues, and then the other one is Jerry the Giraffe. So I'm all about reading and getting kids started and moving in that direction because it just opens their whole world up. So when I heard you talking about the other night, I thought, man, that is great that you're doing that, and you're setting everything aside until you do get to that point to where it will be ready. But kudos to you for doing that. That's fantastic. Your last thing I want to ask you is your immediate short-term goal, i.e., in the next 2 or 3 days, the next week. What is it that you would like to accomplish? And then, if we were to sit down this time next year, we're both at year 2 of our reselling journey. What would you like to accomplish by then?
Okay, short term, gosh. I feel like half the time I'm just trying to survive the week, just trying to make sure I get that check. Yeah. Um, well, so this is like the last week of the month. So something I didn't talk about, which, you're a PE teacher, so maybe maybe you'll care about this. I have been trying to, so not only have I been trying to read a book a month, but I've been trying to get 10,000 steps a day. Not totally strict, but just something I started in March of this year. And I worked up to it because I think, well, really, it was when I was working in retail, it was super easy to get, 15,000 steps or whatever. But when I stopped that, I kind of, you know, gained a bit of weight and then just was like, I need to figure something out. Didn't really think it would be possible, but worked up to that 10,000 steps. So I've been at that now for a couple months. Anyways, by the end of the month, I guess that's an everyday thing, not a monthly thing. The book, I have to finish my book. Reselling, I always try to hit the 250 listings or whatever that eBay gives you for free. Um, I think I should make it. I think I have like 40 left or something, but then it seems like when things have been listed for a few months, they recount it as one of the numbers. I don't really know. eBay's weird. But anyways, I guess that's like really my only reselling goal for a few days is just to make sure I hit that listing number. And then in a year, gosh. It's hard because I'm trying to give myself grace because I do put a lot of time into this. And like I said, I've been working on trying to source better things and not pick up the same stuff that I would have, 6 months ago, a year ago. But I don't know. I think I would like to redo this room. There's a big closet next to me
Mhm.
that just has our junk in it, and I feel like I could totally move a good portion of this into the closet. Not that there's anything wrong with it being in this guest room that nobody ever uses, but I don't know. I just think it could be a little more organized. So I think again, that's not really a weekend goal, but I think if we do get our library put together in the next couple months, then this would probably be the next like household type thing is to maybe move some of this inventory into this. It's a walk-in closet. So yeah, move some of our stuff in there and pick up the junk that is on the floor.
No, it's a junk moved.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, congratulations on getting those steps in because that is the way. That's where you start, and the steps will turn into eventually you wanting to do maybe let's do half a mile jog or something.
Hmm.
But just getting out there and exercising and doing those things, it can't help but help you.
Oh
It's
yeah.
you just got to get moving. I've talked about this on some of my podcasts. I'm also a high school and college basketball referee, and on any given like some high school nights when we do two varsity games, we'll do a girls and a boys game. So that's about 3 hours worth. We will run anywhere from 5 to 7 miles in those
Oh, I bet.
those 3 hours. But we keep our little trackers in our pockets, and we just like to see what kind of workouts we get. And it's a
Wow.
good 5 to 7 mile run to do those
That's
two.
more, you would do more as a ref than a coach, right? Because I'm sure coaches run too, but you like have to go to every little area.
Yeah, yeah. Coaches don't run; they just yell.
Oh, okay. You know, I guess that's fair.
And I had talked about this. I used to be a coach, but there's no power to me on the
Yeah.
sideline because the referee has it on his whistle. But I joke about that. But
Too funny.
I did have one other thing that entered my mind, and I was talking about it on my podcast. If you have one more minute to talk about this,
Yeah.
I kind of want your opinion because at some point I want to ask Kevin, the Commonwealth flipper picker,
Hmm.
flipper or picker, whichever one, um, about the VCR uh, tapes going on because Ray is adamant about it that it's a bad
Oh,
move.
really?
I mean, he is tore up about it.
Wait, like he's against them, right?
Oh, he's totally against it. He said it's
Yeah.
because evidently there's some that are being bought, and you see Harry Tornado and Commonwealth Picker, they both have been sending these tapes in that are sealed and have the watermarks, whatever on them, and they're getting them graded. And Ray's like, why are you doing that? It's a VCR tape. Now I kind of see both sides of it. I don't really either way, but tapes evidently break down over time, the VCR tapes. So I'm not sure. I
So
don't know.
that's why they,
So what is your take on
huh?
VCR tapes? Do you have a take on it at all?
I when if I look in the VCR tape section, I only look for one thing. I have not found it yet, but I'm sure there's more bolos out there, but there's only like I feel like my brain capacity right now is just like until I find the one I'm looking for, I'm not gonna look for another bolo. But it's the Pixar Cars VHS. So
Ah,
that's a pretty good bolo.
yes.
Um, that's like the only one I know about, and I feel like because it's probably an obnoxious red bright color, it'll be easy to pick out. They usually put the Disney ones together. So
Hmm.
that's just an easy one for me to glance over and look. But other than that, I don't bother. I think I've sold one and I think I've sourced one. And it was a Mighty Ducks and it was sealed, whether it was from another reseller who had sealed it or if it was really brand new, I don't remember. But yeah, and that one ended up I thought I could get like 20 for it when I had purchased it, but I think it ended up only selling for like, I don't know, 8, $10 maybe at most. So whatever. I got more than I paid for it. But yeah, as a whole, I don't know, not my thing. But electronics as a whole are not my thing. I don't want to deal with them
I just want
personally.
to ask those two guys, or one of them, what are you doing? What is
I
it
really would
that
love to
nobody else
know.
knows?
I would love to know how many I would love to know how many tapes Kevin just has though. I would
Well,
love to
I
know.
mean,
Like that
people
he
just
still
keep
has.
shipping them to him and shipping them to him. I mean, eventually, I think he's going to have to break down and show us a video. And Kevin,
Yeah.
if you're watching this, you're going to have to show us a video of all your videotapes.
I
What
think he
you're doing,
should.
where they at in the vault.
Uh-huh.
Well, that
I
is all
don't
the
know.
time we have today on the Slim Flippers podcast. I am Wes, and I want to thank Karen from Treasures of Gold for coming along
Yeah.
with us on our journey this evening. Thank you so much for joining us today, Karen.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
And hopefully we can get together again soon and talk some more reselling at a later date. We appreciate your time.
Perfect. Thank you so much.